I guess I look pretty silly carrying a doll. A couple months ago, I would have said I brought it for laughs, or maybe for luck. But I've learned a lot about myself lately, and now I know better. I brought it because he gave it to me. He used to muss up my hair and call me Raggedy Ann. So he gave me the doll. But he's not here now. And I'm so frightened. What am I doing here? For months now, I've had to keep reminding myself where I am and what I'm doing, and still it doesn't seem real. I keep forgetting. And then suddenly, in the middle of an afternoon like this one, I panic with the thought that I'm supposed to be in school. What am I doing here? And I have to stop and remind myself all over again. I'm pregnant. I'm 16 years old, and I'm not married. And very, very soon now, I'm going to have a baby.
Every year in the United States, more than 250,000 illegitimate children are born, half of them to teenagers. 1 out of every 10 babies born in the state of Maryland is an out-of-wedlock child. And each week in Baltimore, 17 girls drop out of the regular public school program because they are pregnant. The situation has become so serious that last September, a complete separate school facility was opened for the pregnant student. Already, its classrooms are filled to overflowing, and there's a long list of those who are waiting to get in. The dramatization you are about to see is the story of an out-of-wedlock pregnancy. The parts of the principals in this drama are played by actors, so we might give you a close and intimate view of what is, in real life, an extremely private and deeply personal experience. But all of the places and many of the people who will appear are real. This dramatization is not recommended for viewing by your younger children, but we hope that all parents and teenagers will watch it, because it's the story not of just one pregnant high school girl, but of all of them. The girl we call Ann is like her doll, a patchwork of all the Anns and Sallys and Sylvias who are living through this experience right now. Indeed, during the half hour you spend watching this program, somewhere in the United States, 12 young girls like Ann will give birth to 12 fatherless babies. This is Focal Point, Generation 66, a statistic named Ann.
It's 2:30. They're getting out of school now. Kidding around, griping about the tests they had today and all the homework they'll have tonight. Never dreaming what a great life it really is. It's just the way I used to be. When I got home from school, my mother would fuss at me because my room was a mess or because I didn't help her enough. And I used to think, oh gosh, I hate to go home. Such a drag. Never dreaming how much I would miss it. And even Mom's nagging when I had to go away. I think I really loved him. this hadn't happened, I guess we'd still be going together. But after a while, there was nothing between us but this problem, and that wrecked everything. In a situation like this, everyone is so upset that all they can think about is themselves. Even my parents were that way at first. They thought, "What are you doing to us?" And I thought, "Well, what are you doing to me? All of you. The school, the neighbors, everybody." I was really glad to get away from home. I felt everybody was looking at me and whispering about me, and everybody knew. And my parents agreed that I should get as far away as possible, even though it meant I'd be all alone from then on. I remember the first few days at the home were awfully hard. I was homesick, I guess. I hated all the rules, like being in bed at a certain time and having all types of things expected of me. And the thought that I would have to spend 4 or 5 months in such a place just made me want to die right then and there. And I kept staring at the other girls, and I just thought they'd all be really cheap types and tramps. Even when I found that they were all very much like me, I still wasn't happy. I could hardly stand the sight of the ones who were 8 or 9 months along. I thought they looked awful. And I just couldn't stand the thought that sometime I was going to look like that.
Miss Betty Schwartz, director of the Florence Crittenden Home, an agency devoted exclusively to the care of unwed mothers.
The first few days can be so difficult for each girl. Even though she came here because she was pregnant and wanted help in whatever way she felt that need, there is another kind of impact in coming to an agency for unmarried mothers. It's not just that she is homesick and lonesome, but also that she is hurt and frightened. She never thought that she was that kind of girl, someone who could get into this kind of trouble. It's as if coming here is confirmation of her deepest fears about herself. She feels branded and banished from society, even though she comes here by free will and choice. Seeing 31 other girls who were pregnant out of wedlock can hardly leave any doubt about her own condition. The challenge is to help each girl begin to listen to her own inner feelings. Of course, it's important to her what society thinks, just as this is important to each of us. But even more important is how she feels about herself. What counts is that she has gone against her own moral standards, her expectations for herself, her own morality, and not just what society expects of her. What follows are feelings of shame and guilt and a deep loss of self-respect. There's no denying that she is in trouble with herself and not just society. If she feels so badly, then how did she allow it to happen in the first place? Each girl must find her own answer. This girl may be pregnant out of wedlock because of serious emotional problems. That girl may be pregnant as a rebellious act against her parents. Still another girl may be pregnant because she has succumbed to what she thinks are new mores and standards in her teenage generation. There is really only one generalization that can be made about all unmarried mothers. They are pregnant out of wedlock. I think if you took a random sampling of young women between the ages of, say, 13 to 26, you would find much the same sort of girl we have here. Our hope is that in being here, each girl can win back her self-respect, or perhaps gain her self-respect if she never had it before.
Forget to mail it? Nope. Just came this morning.
Well, Aren't you going to read it?
I don't have to. I know what it says. The nosy neighbor next door doesn't really believe I'm spending the winter with my grandmother down south, so I won't catch so many colds.
Well, look, you'll get over it. Just in time for another one to come.
Well, don't worry. It's just a matter of time.
Does the nurse know?
Yeah, since lunchtime. She says the pains are too far apart.
Does it hurt?
No, silly. It only feels funny.
How far apart are they?
I don't know. I keep forgetting. I think I'd better go see the nurse.
What's wrong? I like her. Alice, I mean. I don't want her to be hurt. But don't you see, she's happy. We all envy her. She can go home now. She's only got a couple more days. Why did we let this happen to us?
Look, it's just like people who smoke. They think they'll never get lung cancer. And people who speed, they're the ones that think they'll never get caught.
But there ought to be more of a reason than that. There she goes to the hospital. Just think. In just a little while, you'll be going down that road, too.
Dr. Louis Randall, assistant in obstetrics and gynecology at Sinai Hospital.
Why does it happen? It seems as though nature has played a dirty trick on the teenager. It's made her physiologically ready before she is emotionally and economically ready to bear a baby. It's changed her body processes so that she is able to physically have a child. This problem is even made worse because with the better health care that we have today, with the better nutrition that we have today, teenagers are able at an earlier age to have children. Approximately 100 years ago, a young lady had to reach the age of 17 before she could have a baby. But now with the modern medicine, with the modern vitamins, the patient is now able to have a child at the age of 13 or 14. So you see the problem is even magnified because of our better medical care. Then we have the problem of modern living, television, the movies, the way we sell toothpaste, the way we sell our automobiles. All of these things influence the teenager because they're usually sold in a way that sex is predominant in the advertising. There are other problems that seem to come to play here. The teenager that has the illegitimate baby is a victim of circumstance. Quite often she comes from a broken home. She comes from a home where mother works, where father has deserted, and she is looking for some focal point. She is looking for some stabilizing influence. She is looking for something to love. So she goes out and sets up a relationship with another person, with usually a teenage boy, and then becomes pregnant. She does it quite often despite her parents. She does it quite often by chance. She also does it because there is a true warm relationship between these two teenage people. The girls seem to be saying, I want someone I can love. I want something for myself. So they have a baby.
Really complicated. Right. Just yeah, that's strength. Pretty strength. Yeah, that's good. Any help out? No, never.
It's over. I did it. I had a baby. It's not a dream because I remember hearing it cry. And I couldn't have dreamed that because I never knew it would sound that way. I did it. I had a baby. Oh, I really, really did.
Good afternoon, Miss Johnson. How are you feeling? I have your baby for you to hold. You have a lovely baby, 9 pounds. Do you want to see him a little bit? Large fingers. You have a large baby, beautiful.
Thank you.
Would you like to hold your baby for a few minutes? Do you feel well enough to?
Please.
All right. I'll be back in a few minutes and you can get acquainted with your baby then. Okay?
I never dreamed he would be so beautiful. I just never dreamed how much I would really love him. And all those months in the home, I was just waiting to get it over with so I could go back to being a teenager again. Everything just the same as it was before. And now the thought that I have only 3 days, just 3 days left to be with my baby. I think it's almost more than I can take.
Can I take your baby now? We'll be back later on this evening to show your baby again, okay? Hello, Anne.
Mine certainly produced a beautiful baby boy.
Did they let you see him?
Yes. I'll be the one who takes him from the hospital when he's released.
I know. I guess you've just got somebody waiting downstairs for him, don't you? Just waiting around for my baby.
And in all our talks before, I told you today would be difficult. But you needn't decide today, this time. Once you've seen the baby, all your resolutions about giving him up for adoption would just sort of melt away. But we will place him where there is a family life, a home where there's a father and a mother doesn't have to work.
You mean with a home that I can't give him? You social workers make me sick. You're all alike. You're just like cats ready to pounce on us. Like we're nothing to you. We're just pieces of machinery. You just wish we could hurry up and produce the babies a little faster.
And my job isn't to make you give up that baby. If there is a way, if you think you can provide him a home, a family life, why, you needn't give him up. I'm only here to help you face this problem realistically, honestly. You should consider what's best for yourself and the baby. The decision is yours.
Well, I've changed my mind. I'm not going to give him to you. I'm never going to give him to you. So you can just go tell that little couple waiting downstairs that they're going to have to wait around for you to pounce on somebody else's baby. Because you're not going to get my baby. You're not.
Miss Betty Schwartz.
The suffering and anguish is actual and typical, particularly at this moment, when the mother faces the final separation from her child in the first step of relinquishing the baby for adoption. It's always so different after the baby is born, alive and separate, able to be held and possessed. Whether it takes her hours or weeks, most unmarried mothers must rethink their original decision about adoption. And it's healthier for her to express her feelings now when the loss is occurring, rather than to have feelings like buried grief resurrect itself later in life. In other words, the unmarried mother should live through the same kind of grief reaction as anyone who has lost a loved one.
Hello? Listen, I've got to talk to you. I've had the baby.
An unmarried mother who places her baby for adoption usually does so because she loves her baby, not because she is indifferent. It's her way of fulfilling parental responsibility for her child, of giving her child his very best chance in life. I don't think society asks more of any parent. For most girls, this whole experience becomes a concentrated time of maturing, and most girls emerge as more capable, responsible human beings as a result of it. The intensity of Ann's suffering is the very reason why she will probably never let this happen to her again.
I love you. And it's because I love you so much that I want you to have the very, very best of everything. But the only thing that I'm afraid of is that you'll never know. When you're older and they tell you that you were adopted, you'll think, my mother didn't want me. My mother didn't love me. And it isn't true. It isn't true. And when you sit up for the first time, and when you take your first step, and when you walk into school for the very first day, you'll be living the life that I'm giving you right now. And I'll be loving you. You must know that. You must. I love you. I'll always love you.
There are hundreds of thousands of Anns, and perhaps all of them have asked themselves the question, why did this happen to me? Authorities working on this problem have some of the answers, but not all of them. They say there is a great need for better sex education among young people. Relationships between teenagers and their parents should be greatly strengthened. It's essential that our youngsters feel free to talk to us about these problems before it's too late for us to help them. So the real starting point for the solution to this problem is in the home. Beyond that, perhaps our society as a whole must begin to look with more compassion upon Ann and other girls like her, because one thing is very clear. The teenager who suffers through this shattering experience is no longer a teenager. The carefree joy of youth is a thing of the past.